ArUco markers are a great option for 6D object pose estimation and general 3D object detection, especially when you have the capacity to place markers. They are accurate, easy to use, and good for real-time applications. They are robust to varying lighting conditions and even partial occlusion. Let's dive in and learn more about them. In this video, I will be talking about what are ArUco markers, why use them, how do they work, how to choose the right type, go over some code demos. One is going to be how to generate the ArUco markers, and the other one is going to be the ArUco marker detection and pose estimation. For more resources, go ahead and check out my website at kevinwhittrobotics.com. Code on my website, see pinned comments below. What are ArUco markers? So you may have seen them before. They look like this. It's patterns inside of a square. But first off, let's take a look at the word ArUco. What does this even mean? It stands for Augmented Reality University of Cordoba. Okay, so that's what it stands for. Why use ArUco markers? So there's a lot of different applications, things like augmented reality, you have object detection, camera calibration, localization and navigation in robotics, pose estimation, and these are some examples. This one is with augmented reality, trying to project a figure onto a table here, and then for pose estimation, which will be the main topic of this video. So how do ArUco markers work? So if we take a look at this is a list of the different types of dictionary names that are available. There's 3 columns, dictionary name, grid size, and marker. So there's a bunch of different types. And you can see that here there's a range of bits from 4x4 all the way up to 7x7. And the markers, they go from 50 all the way up to 1,000. But there's also these special tags. So we have the ArUco original and the April tags. These have, the first one you can see is variable for the ArUco original. And then for the bits, you can see that for the April tags, they could go between 16 by 16 all the way up to 36 by 36 bits. So notice that the April tags tend to have higher bits, more resolution, and you get a total of 25 types altogether. So if we look at the dictionary, you can see the DIC 6x6 and 250. The 6x6 part means the grid size or the n by n bits, and the 250 is the total number of markers that are available. So if we take a look at a grid, if we break it up into 6 columns and 6 rows, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's a total of 36 squares for this grid that we have. So a bit is either 0, which is black, or 000 in RGB, or it's 1 or white, which is all 255s. So we take a look at this. This is a 0 bit, and then this is a 1 bit. So that's how you could choose the combination of zeros and ones inside your 36 squares that we saw earlier. So we have a total of 250 combinations. And you might be wondering, so we have 2 to the power of 6 times 6, which is 2 to the power of 36. You get a really, really big number, right? But why only 250 combinations? So the idea is we want to avoid similar markers. So we take a look at these 2 markers. They are very close, almost identical, except for 1 square. So the algorithm could be confused if the 2 markers are too similar. So we only want to use distinctly different markers. So the idea is we're going to have markers that look very different, which we choose to be 250, and we're going to have ID associated with each of the different patterns. So how do you choose the right ArUco dictionaries? There's so many types that we went over, but how do you know which one to use, right? So the idea is we want to break it up into different size ranges. So we have the small, which is typically between 30 and 50 markers. And this might be good for like tabletop AR applications. And then we have the medium size, which is 100 to 600 markers. And these could be good for like room mapping, like a small room, for example. And then you have a large application, which could be like 1,000 to 2,000 markers. This could be like a giant building floor map that you might work on for your project for robot navigation, for example. So now let's take a look at the code. So first off, let's take a look at this diagram of the structure of our code. So if if we look here, we have our ArUco Dictionary, which we will pass into our generate ArUco markers, which will output our ArUco marker, which we'll use. And then on the left, we have our inputs, the calibration, ArUco Dictionary, and then our video feed with our marker in it. And we're going to pass it into the ArUco marker pose estimation. And then finally, we will output in our display the ArUco marker with the pose. So this is what we will be going over in our live demo. So the first script that we're going to run is the run generate ArUco markers. You can see we're passing in the dictionary types here, and then we have our marker ID, then we specify the marker width. So if I go ahead and run this, we'll see our marker being generated. So you can see here, this is our marker here, 200 by 200, and you can see that we have the white areas, which is what we expect. And then if I close it out, it's going to save my marker in the picture here, and then you could go ahead and print this out or put it on your phone for testing like I'll be doing. Okay, now let's take a look at our live demo here. We have our calibration already done. I'm using my calibration camera matrix as well as my distortion coefficients from my previous calibration video. But here you can see this is our ArUco marker in action here. And you can see this is our ID 0. And if I rotate it, you can see that the coordinate system follows pretty well. But let's see when it starts losing detection here. So you can see that if I tilt it too much, it's very impressive how just a barely small angle it could already detect it. You can see that I'm tilting my phone, it's like barely visible, and it could already pick it up. So quite impressed with this. And you can see that I have a light here with some glare. You can see at some angles, it could still pick it up, which is pretty impressive. You can see that right here, there's a light shining and it's still picking it up. Part of the squares is actually occluded from here and it's still detecting. So let me try blocking with my hand now. So I'm holding it up here. If I try to, I could block part of it. You can see I'm blocking part of the marker right now and it's still detecting. But if I block too much, it's not going to work. So you can see if I block it on the top, sometimes it'll pick it up. So overall, it seems to be working very well. In terms of the responsiveness, you can see that this is in real time, right? I'm moving it super fast, and it's still picking up, moving it in and out. See, it does very well, okay? So if you want this code, it's available on my website, kevinwoodrobotics.com. If you found this video helpful, give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.